What's up, everybody out there? It's the one and only Kenny Talk is back in the building. Yes, I am, and this is the truth lies in the lessons. And you know what? We back for another episode, our February episode, man. I want to chop it up with y'all tonight. I want to steal a little bit of your time, steal a little bit of your attention to get y'all to come to class, man. Come to class. I got a little something I want to drop on your head. Class is definitely in session. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give everybody a chance to kind of gather around, take your seats, you know, grab your syllabus, pull out your pens, your pads, and your calculators. And you're also gonna need your rulers. Because at times you're gonna have to measure what I'm saying, right? All right. This is February, and the topic that we're going to be discussing today, I'm going to go a little bit into depth about it in just a second, but I got my blanket wrapped around me today, right? You know what I'm saying? This blanket is very special to me because my daughter gave it to me for my birthday, and y'all really can't see it, but it got pictures, history of us on it, and it means so much to me. So I thought that I would rock it this particular episode, right? The name of our podcast is called The Truth, the Lies, and the Lessons, where we are the only podcast that provides you with a lesson. You get a chance to walk away with something, right? We've been doing this for several years. I am published author, philosopher, the one and only Kenny Talk. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people might say, well, you know what, Kenny Talk, you say you a philosopher. What do you mean? Well, it's because I created this philosophy a long time ago called Relationship Truth, and I wrote a book about it, right? And the book is called The Truth That Tears Us Apart, the Lies That Keep Us Together, you know? And I've been building on this philosophy for a long time, and it's just getting stronger and stronger, I had a chance to do radio.
Call the truth.
I had a chance to do YouTube, which I had a chance to do internet radio. I did quite a bit of it. So today, class is in session. It's time to take everybody on a journey with me, right? And I'll start. But one of the biggest things that we do as individuals in relationships, we move about our lives, we move about the spaces we're in, we move about our city or what have you from a dating perspective based on our options. And at times you get people, and I'll start with the people who have a lot of options. They move differently, you know. They move through life, they move through the city, they move through their space in a different way. They hold, they have certain standards that others that don't have as many options have in place. Now, these individuals, you know, they have this cockiness about themselves, and rightfully so. They have a right to choose whatever they want, be whatever they want, right? The only problem is that if you squander this moment and it's short-lived, you continue to live. You'll find yourself in a position to where those options are not as vast. And if you're still moving as if you have a slew of options, then you'll get to a point to where your feelings are going to get hurt, right? So now let's move on to the people who have these dwindling options that are still moving like they got options. They'll find themselves in a situation to where they are hurt. They'll find themselves entertaining people because of the fact that these are the only options that they do have, right? And as these options start to dwindle down, you'll find people starting to change their expectations and go against what they said that they wouldn't do or what they wouldn't be about, but now all of a sudden they are about it, right? So when this does happen, people find themselves getting hurt. And once they get hurt, they retreat. They retreat to a space to where they don't want to be bothered with anybody. They feel like, okay, I really need to take some time out for myself, right? And when they look back at a lot of things that they dealt with, a lot of things that they did, a lot of people that they entertained, and a lot that they put themselves through, and they realize, you know what? I was moving as if I did not have, you know, love for myself. I disregarded myself, right? So it makes them want to retreat into a certain space of self love. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to talk about self love. So break out your pads, your pens, your notebooks, and your calculators. The Truth, the Lies, and the Lessons is going to dissect self love, or what people believe to be is self love. We're going to talk about the truth, the lies, and the lessons about self love. So I want y'all to join me real quick. As we get it started, let's go. Yeah, don't you go nowhere. It's the Truth, the Lies, and the Lessons, everybody. And I want to thank you for joining me for another class, right? Okay, I've already did my roll call. I've already did my introduction for those that are just joining us. And today, I got my marker in my hand. I need y'all to walk with me, right? As we discuss, I'm going to write it up here. Self love. Okay. Many people have self love confused. And I want to touch on that tonight because I want you to walk away with a lesson, right? I got my blanket on that my daughter made for me and I'm ready to rock, right? So let's talk about it real quick. Everybody, I need you to understand that I always start with the lies. And what are the lies? The lies are that which is what is widely accepted, yet brings the least amount of results. That which is widely accepted, but brings the least amount of results. Okay. So we're going to talk about the lies, or what's accepted the most about self love. Right. And so let's jump into it. All right. Self love, first and foremost, is a space that many people retreat to when things are not going their way in relationships, right? It's a space that they retreat to when they really want to take some time out to be able to say, hey, you know what? Let me get myself together. You know, let me focus on myself right now. So I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about when you think about the lies or that which is widely accepted about self love. So, first and foremost, let's begin. Okay. One of the biggest things that we accept about self love, or the definition of it, is settling for less than you feel you deserve. I know a lot of people can relate to being in a situation to where you feel like you settled for less than what you deserve, right? And you exist in that space at that particular point because, for whatever reason, you exist in that place because you feel like you're selfless and you're giving over to make things to this person in order to make it work. You put yourself to the side in order for the greater good of the relationship. And when things don't work out, you look back and say, well, you know what? I really didn't love myself when I was in there. I was too busy loving that person. And I put the relationship above my own feelings. I put the relationship above um the way I was being treated. I put that person way above that which I normally expect or what I feel I deserve, right? The second thing is that we say staying in a relationship when you're being abused. Now, when I say abused, we definitely want to also look outside of physically, but of course, mentally, emotionally, you know, we want to look outside of spiritually, or we want to take a look at all these different perspectives when we talk about being abused, right? All of many of us as adults can relate to being in a relationship to where one of these has actually happened. Probably, everybody can't relate to physical, but we definitely at times can relate to emotional, right? We've had someone that we felt like neglected our emotional state. They neglected the way we felt at times, right? And I know I say it spiritually is because of the fact that a lot of times we're actually led in a way spiritually that goes against what we believe spiritually, or we are attacked for what we believe spiritually. And a lot of time it doesn't have anything to do with religion. It got something to do with morality. Things that you hold deep to yourself are attacked, or you're being forced to be outside of that, you know what I'm saying? Which can be labeled as you being spiritually abused. We all know what physical abuse is, when somebody put their hands on you in any kind of way. And like I say, like I did a show a long time ago about domestic violence and things. And a lot of people believe it's only women, but of course, we know men go through it as well. There are men that have gone through relationships to where they were abused. And we always look at abuse as if it means that you can only be abused when you are weaker than that person that's basically doing the physical, the assaulting, right? But it don't mean that, you could be dealing with abuse from a person that raised their hand or try to put their hands on you, a woman that tries to do that. That don't mean that she's stronger than you. That don't mean you're scared of her or anything like that. But I mean, it could happen. A lot of us have been in those situations before. And when we look back after those relationships are over, we say, hey, I was in a place where it seemed as if I just really didn't care about myself at that time. Hmm. All right. Um, when relationships fail to go in a direction that we don't like, a lack of self love always gets the blame, right? When a relationship goes into a direction that we don't like, self love gets the blame. And I'm going to come back to that, right? Here is another lie, or what people believe that self love is to shower yourself with material things. Many of us get out of terrible relationships and then we start really looking at saying, hey, I'm gonna treat myself, retail therapy. I'm gonna buy myself this. I'm gonna treat myself to this. I'm gonna show on social media that I'm doing all these things on trips and all this stuff to show that I love myself. I'm doing self love at this particular point, to pamper yourself, right? Putting yourself and your well being over others is considered self love. You know what? I'm going to ignore everyone else and what they say they want at this particular point, and I'm going to focus on me, right? We look at this as being a form of self love. These are just a few things that I wanted to point out from the lie perspective, or that which is widely accepted, yet it brings the least amount of results. Because when you fall, or when you believe this and you fall into that place of self-love, or wanting to practice self-love, or basically be about self-love at a point in your life, you know what, you always end at the same place, right? We actually mistake it for healing, We mistake it for, hey, I'm refreshed and now I'm ready to go back out and date. And the only thing you did with these things that I just named, right? So I want to make sure everybody understand that the first thing that we discuss today is definitely going to be around the lies. I'm loving it. So now it's time for the truth. I love the truth, man. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the truth. Yeah. Now I'm going to start from the top, man. What people don't understand is that which we consider self-love is a coping mechanism. Tell the truth, Kenny. Yeah, I'm finna tell you right now. It's a coping mechanism when you've been hurt or when you felt like you've been neglected. Right? We believe that this coping mechanism is a form of healing and it's going to pretty much help us be ready for the next relationship, right? Self-love is professed and practiced, right? When you believe that self-love is professed and practiced, then you're missing a whole boat. Yeah. So that's one. The next thing is this. When you put yourself in a box to be who you are not, or go after what you really don't value, right? That's the real thing that we do when we don't love ourselves. But nobody ever looks at it like that. When you don't love yourself, you put yourself in a box to be who you're not, and you go after what you really don't value or things that you really don't want. It's a lot of people that have their list or have their expectations when it comes to relationships, and they stand on them 10 toes down, only to when they get what they want, they squander it. Right? You have to accept the fact that, truth be told, you really don't love yourself because you don't love yourself enough to go after what you value. And what you value just may not look like what everybody else values. And that's okay. Right? When you alter yourself physically or from its natural state, you know what I'm saying? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Are you happy with what you see when you look in the mirror? Ask yourself, or do you want it to, or you want to look different, right? And from your natural state. A lot of people believe that self-love is setting your expectations higher than the average person can reach, right? You say, I'm going to expect A, B, C, and D going forward, right? And everybody you meet falls short of that. And when everybody you meet falls short of that, you don't make any adjustments because you look at it like, this is what I'm going to expect and this is what I'm going to be about because it shows or send the message that I love myself. Self-love. Yeah. Self-love. This is the truth, man. Not everyone accepts this. Not everyone accepts it, but there is experience and factual data that's out there that could back it up. But because we're used to accepting is widely accepted. Yeah. Hey. And I said all of that to say this. When you misconstrue what self-love is, or when you find yourself retreating and using it as a coping mechanism, when you use this as a coping mechanism, it's not really self-love. It's not really self-love, ladies and gentlemen. So you've heard the truth. You've heard the lies, right? Before I get into the lesson and before I dismiss class, I always want to make sure that I give you some poetic justice, man. And a lot of people might say, well, Kenny, talk. This is my first time listening. Thank you for that, by the way. You know what I'm saying? What is poetic justice? You know what I'm saying? Well, poetic justice is a little bit of a spoken word that I put together. You know, I wrote it several weeks ago or whatever, because I always be prepared. But it goes a little something like this. Self-love. Are you practicing self-love? Ugh. All right. Now, I'm all in support of the idea of us loving ourselves. But what if we got the idea incorrect? I know discussing the possibilities that self-love doesn't exist could make those that use it as a crutch get a little upset. Now, is there a difference between settling and sacrificing for what you want? If that which you want, you never gain. When relationships fail or go in a direction that we don't like, a lack of self-love always gets the blame. Now, we've been taught to fall back and shut down when dating if the energy they're giving doesn't feel the same. Hey. And then we claim to be in a place of loving ourselves because the way that many of us deal with the pain. Because that's a way that many of us deal with the pain. Yeah. Self-love is a coping mechanism, everyone. We use it as a coping mechanism. That term is a coping mechanism. And you have to ask yourself, is it working? What do you get out of going into this space? Self-love. Now, what made me want to really tackle this talk or this class is just this week we just had what is everybody calls Valentine's Day, right? And on Valentine's Day, it's a big focus on couples. It's a big focus on husband and wives. It's a big focus on all of that, man. But I did a show a long time ago as well where we talked about the people that are single, right? And they don't really have they don't have anybody on Valentine's Day, man. And there are a lot of people out there that are cool with that because they're so-called practicing self-love, right? And that brings me to what I like to call the lesson. So here's a lesson I need everybody, I love everybody to take away from this talk is well, if I had to sum up the lesson in one word, I would say it is unreal. Unreal. Why you say that, Kenny Talk? Let me tell you why. The lesson of today is this. You actually always love yourself. There is not a moment you wake up and get out of the bed that you don't do things that benefit yourself. You know what I'm saying? Let's take it back. That relationship that you were in, that you felt like that person was abusing you in one of the ways that we discussed. You have to believe that you loved yourself because in your mind you were getting something out of it. There was some type of fulfillment there. That's why you stayed. You didn't stay because you didn't love yourself. You were actually being fulfilled in some strange way. I mean, people that are physically abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, spiritually abused, in these ways being abused, you are still getting some out of it, right? You feel like you are. If you're in a relationship with somebody that you feel like doesn't value you, or don't or don't respect you, or don't really respect your emotional state, they're not considerate of you emotionally, but you stay for years, you have to understand during that time frame, you believe you're getting something out of it, even when you start going through the breakup process that we discussed last time. There's a process. Even in the breakup process, you don't cut it off. You don't leave the relationship because in your mind, you still are getting something out of it. You either don't want to see another woman with this guy, or you don't want to see another man with this girl, right? Or things have just really not gotten that bad enough to make that will make you walk away. Or you are fearful of being alone, right? And when you're fearful of being alone, you have to understand that that person that's abusing you is providing you some sort of comfort. The comfort of not being alone. They may be abusing you, right? But it don't mean that you don't love yourself. You always love yourself, regardless of what the situation is. So self-love really doesn't exist. If you actually look at self-love as something that you practice, you done already missed the whole boat, right? Self-love is automatic. You're not going to do anything that goes against self-preservation or what's best for you or that which you get something out of, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to share that with you guys to say the lesson of today is self-love just don't really exist. I'm loving myself at this particular point. It does not exist. You know what I'm saying? It does not exist. I said it first. You know what I'm saying? No one is never in a situation that has zero benefits to themselves. So what is self-love? It's a coping mechanism. It's an excuse. It's a space that you can operate in to make yourself feel better. It's something you can say when you can't find a relationship. Man, listen. Thank y'all for taking the time out to press play, taking the time out to join the classroom. And like I said in my post, man, a lot of us out here, a lot of us got this relationship stuff so twisted. Advice ain't what you need. You need to go back to school. This is the school, the first school of real relationship talk, of relationship truth. It's the truth, the lies, and the lessons where we break down the truth, the lies, and the lessons about all different types of subject matter, giving a different perspective out there for you guys. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to let you know how much I appreciate you and to continue to do so, right? You can actually make sure you replay this, share it, share it on social media, but everywhere that podcasts are viewable, you can check it out. You know what I'm saying? You can go back and play it. iHeartRadio, it's on Anchor, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter. And we something everywhere, man, But we're gonna continue to make this thing happen because this class is for individuals that really want to go back and tear down the mindset or unlearn that which they've been taught that got us in the position that we are when it comes to the way we love and the way we communicate with each other, the way we relate to each other, right? And the truth, the lies, and the lessons is the first class of its kind. Thank everybody for listening. Make sure you go out and get that book, The Truth That Tears Us Apart, The Lies That Keep Us Together. I'm gonna keep my nice blanket on today because I like it. And we're gonna continue to move, right? And oh, make sure you like that page on Facebook. Make sure that you continue to share it and make sure you continue to play it. Thank everybody out there. Class is dismissed, man. It's the truth, the lies, and the lessons. And we out. Yeah.